Hey, my speaker lovers. Thank you so much for coming by. All right, lovers, let's get back to the conversation. So we have had the weekend to go through a lot of content. And the most talked about content right now definitely has been Wendy Williams, the movie and the biopic and everything that we saw. So let's go over here. Let them know. Okay, so they can chat live with me now. Just so that everyone can know. Okay. So, everybody's taking apart the Wendy Williams movie scene. From supporters to her haters, I've seen everybody take the movie apart. One thing for sure, there was enough tea dropped prior to the movie that it was without a doubt, it was a guarantee that everyone would tune in, and a lot of people tuned in. So while people are watching, of course, there's the typical opinion about Wendy Williams that's always out there anyway. Like, well, look at her, look at the lifestyle that she's had over the years. And most people are speaking about the talk show and the radio show life of dishing out all kind of deets on different celebrities and public figures and how she's done that for so long. And so I saw constant opinions regarding that, saying, well, this is what she gets, for all the stuff that she did. And it was kind of like loosely thrown out there with, some people, all comments that are made. I'm always taking a close look at comments that are made to see, do people have true negative intention with the comment that they make? Or is it really just a, unbiased, just straight up, no chaser? This is what we feel about Wendy Williams. Or is it really coming from just a little bit extra extra hatred thrown in there? Here's what I saw, okay? So the details. When we look at Wendy Williams' story, we can only hear from Wendy Williams in regards to her story. It was important for me to watch the movie, and I'm thankful that the movie played and then the documentary, because, of course, I want that whole fiction visual laid out. And then I definitely always, as a critical thinker, I need to follow that with what's the actual details of what happened. And that's what she was able to deliver in the documentary, which was very intimate, very emotional. We seen her broken, and really giving it to us raw, right? The movie, I have no opinion about who should have played and who shouldn't have played. Those actors that were chosen to put that film together, put those scenes together exactly as, just gave a great visual to the details of what Wendy tells us about her life. I was shocked to find out about, the motherhood, the struggle of motherhood. And I really thought that was really great of you, Wendy, to put that out there for so many moms that can relate to that story. You really have embodied every aspect of what women go through when it comes to bearing children, desiring to have a child, inability to have a child, the loss of a child, the decision to not have a child. Like, you have been through all that, and what a tremendous story that you have. And in all the years of being in the spotlight, and you haven't sat that in the front of everything, with so many people that if they sit back from the criticism and really hear you, there was so many parts of what you put in the film, especially for the different moms or the moms to be, or those who are unable to make a child, that could relate to. So, the moment when you're like, oh, I can't have that child, or the moments when you, lose the children, right? And and it was back to back, and then that one doctor sits you down with an explanation. That's all it takes for a Black woman, especially, to just have someone take the time to break down and say, hey, it's not really that you can't have a child. It's about what you're doing while you're pregnant. And here's a solution. And you did all the work. You're like, fine, I will get in that bed. I will run the talk show from the bed. That was amazing. Just being a podcaster, seeing that. What a thought. We're quick to shut everything down when we're not able to move around the same way. Think about the times when I've done so, and what a great idea. Pull it all over to the bed, microphone, laptop, and all, and keep on moving. So what a tremendous amount of strength that was shown just seeing you do that. Like any mom that, you're running your mouth and you can't relate to that moment. You know how long a pregnancy is, are you guys that far removed, to not even relate to her on that? 9 months in the bed is a long time, right? So especially for someone that's active and always on the move, so to me, that was, really, I really was able to really just feel where that pain and emotion and, just trying to push through and making the best of a situation, the resiliency, the strength that is Black woman, and that constantly has to be Black woman that is often overlooked. So I thought, how can you guys not see that was a huge part of, wow, look at this woman. I've highly respected Wendy Williams for a long time. I'm one of the ones that I didn't grow up on the East Coast. So I have a lot of East Coast friends. Shame on you for never telling me about Wendy Williams all the years that you saw me doing my talk show and my podcast. And I never once had any one of my East Coast friends mention her. It was not until Wendy Williams was on TV that I actually found out about her and did my own homework and find out about her radio life. I did that on my own, and I'm talking about this girl right here. I have a plethora of East Coast friends, so shame on you, right? Just for not even sharing her with me. I just have nothing else on that. So, but yeah, so when her talk show came on, at that point, I'm living at back in Texas, and I was at Fort Hood, Texas when it started. So I would watch it, and I loved it. I am not a fan of being too negative on anyone's life, but I love seeing her be herself. And just, she's, if I fast forward, Wendy Williams is the Cardi B of talk show. Like, she's just going to bring it straight, no chaser. This is what I think. This is what it is. And hey, they still love me when it's done, or they're Omarosa, if not, and she's still embodied and owned that moment, So, when I look at her life and, like I said, been a long time fan as far as from talk show days and just looking back at her radio life, I love that things were brought out that we didn't know anything about. A blogger can't tell you about Wendy Williams. Only Wendy Williams can tell you about Wendy Williams. So I didn't know the part about Eric B. I didn't know I heard clips of the Whitney Houston conversation. I had never heard so much of, and that was shared in the documentary after, and I had never heard that much of the Whitney Houston conversation with Wendy Williams. I didn't know the level of the drugs. I knew that there were the rumors and the talk about Wendy and using drugs, but just to hear in her own words why and how she got caught up in what appeared to be drug use to stay up constantly so that she could constantly be a part of it, should I say the FOMO aspect. And there are a lot of natural ways to do that without bringing drugs into it. So if anybody is going through that and you're trying to stay up and have enough energy because you have to keep up with a lot of things and you need to get some sleep, but you also need to stay and keep your energy going, I really encourage you to find a holistic person, a holistic doctor, a holistic advisor to get all kind of foods made from God's green earth that are available that will give you that energy that you need. My number one go-to for it is kombucha by Health Aid, and I also use sea moss. Plus, I have a natural high for life and passion, so I've never had to use anything for sake of being aware and alert. Now, tea is something when you need to get ready to just, okay, I've been up too long. I've been involved in so much stuff and I've had all these events and I need to relax. Definitely some meditation music, some solfeggio frequencies, hot cup of tea, and you know, bring yourself. So there's ways to deal with what comes in the industry, and the people around you are going to take the lazy route and they're going to go to drugs. But I've always looked at people using drugs as that's lazy. Like I'm using because I've been through a lot of trauma, go to therapy. You don't want to go to therapy because that's work. You go to drugs because you're being lazy. So if you are trying to use drugs for your mental, to get away from everything, you're just being lazy. That, you know, there are people out there, there are groups out there, there are programs out there, there are therapists out there, there are counselors, psychiatrists. There are plenty of people outside of the people that you know, getting away from the circle of people that you are hanging around, you know. And I'm just grateful to have never gotten caught up with people that do drugs, you know, always keeping myself in this distance. Like, everybody wants to be around me in different groups all the time, but sometimes it's what you're doing in your environment that's the reason why I can't come hang out. So you can judge me all day, but I am not going to be a heavy alcohol user. I am not going to be any type of drug user. So I am not going to also be in heavy gossiping, which is just as addictive and destructive to the mind and body and soul group either. So I'm not going to be in negative gossiping groups, right? So the drugs was definitely something in that. If you needed a lesson and a focal point on that being brought out in the movie, I hope I gave you something there. And the relationship, you know, the representative who Kelvin presented himself in one way and he became something else. Over the years, he probably was all of those things that he ended up being in the end, Wendy. But, you know, he had that representative up there real strong and real heavy. And so he was able to hide it. Not because you were not aware, but when you get real busy, those type of men use those moments to go get caught up in whatever they're doing. He was selfish. He was caught up in ego. He never really had any good intention for you. Probably from the beginning. He may have grown to love you, but it's because of what his original intent was, why it all fell apart for him to get so caught up so quick and so easy with this person that came along. Two are guilty and not participation. So the other girl, even if she says, well, I didn't know anything about him having a wife, you're with Wendy Williams, you know, husband, you know, like that's like being with Stedman and playing dumb, you know what I'm saying? Like there are some people, because of who they are, there's no way you could not have known that was somebody's spouse, right? So especially hanging out, this being someone that was, in the circle. So yeah, that was straight up, crass on her part, and, definitely was, it too definitely played the guilt, the wrong in that situation. The lesson that I would say from overall, so we're going to shorten it up just to not be here so long because I didn't want this to be longer than 15 minutes. The lesson after watching the Wendy Williams movie for podcasters and public figures and people that are trying to do this similar kind of route that she's doing, and you get on these different platforms. Here's the thing, that Karma has a friend named Dharma, and they probably hang out with a chick named Parma. Like, Karma's always going to do what it's going to do. So instead of looking at what Wendy did then and, you know, what's happening now, look at the things that you are doing. Even if you're not a podcaster or a talk show host, look at what you're doing now. Look at the things that you put out, right? And understand that everything that you do and everything that you put out, like when I brought on Martell Holt, people wanted me to slam him and to go in. But I'm thankful that I didn't after watching the first episode of Love and Marriage Huntsville, Because when I saw Melody, I am grateful that the interview with Martell Holt and I went the way that it did. And I was right in some of the assumptions that I made about the type of situation that he was in that would have caused him to have a 6-year affair. So I'm careful about what I put out into the atmosphere. One, it's easy for women to say, girl, if it was me, I would never. The moment that you tell the sense of humor that is the universe, that is God, that what you will never go through, you will go through it. Here's an example from my own life. I used to say, I'm not going to have no dude. I have 3 children, right? My children at that time were teenagers. And I'm like, I'm not bringing no dude on to have all this baby mama drama. And that was something that even you guys heard me say on air. That sense of humor hit the universe and they were like, bet. You know, this is literally how the universe talks to you, right? It's like, bet. And Brent came along. And when I say baby mama drama, if you go to the dictionary and look up baby mama drama, you're going to see Brent Reborn's bitches. Like, that's all I was going to say. Like, go look right now. It's in there. It's under Merriam-Webster. Brent Reborn bitches from the past. Like, so it's important that you never make statements like that. Don't talk about what you would never do. Don't talk about what you would do if you were Wendy Williams. Don't talk about none of that. And watch the things that you put out, even about the celebrities. You don't want all that constant public slashing and bashing. You don't want to go in that hard, because the universe will be like, I have nothing to do. It seems like everyone's preoccupied. Why don't I bring on to her everything that she put out into the universe? Sprinkle, sprinkle, like Salt Bae. Sprinkle, sprinkle, and the universe will Salt Bae you all that drama that you put out. So the lesson is, watch your words. Mind your words. Mind the things that you put out. And be ready to back that up if you put something out, right? Come from a good intent. Check your heart at the front door before you throw out whatever you throw out. Like, come from, I'm not trying to be malicious, but this is something that needs to be said. And make sure that it's necessary that you say it and why you say it. And explain why you say it and explain where you're coming from. That's the lesson. Because I've watched her for years put out about a whole bunch of different couples and make comments regarding what the woman could have did, and if it were her, she wouldn't this and that. And now, boom, I'm telling you, Salt Bae universe, here she come, and she gonna sprinkle that little stuff on your life. You know, humor involved, but I hope you hear the lesson, right? All right, so I promised you guys 15 minutes and went on for how long? Sorry about that. All right, so that's all that I have on that for tonight, but give me some feedback across social media with the thoughts that you have, okay? So why is that on here? I didn't even know that. I just looked at something that was saved on here. All right, so follow the things that I'm doing. I have some good news, but I have a few days before I'm going in to share that with you guys with some good news for me. So hashtag I am Dee Shields. You can find that and put that into Google me, but you can put that into Google, or you can put it into Facebook. Hashtag I am DEESHIELDS. You may find things from haters, but boo, that's not what I'm sending you to do. I'm sending you to go click on what's related to me, which will bring my Facebook page up, which will bring the interviews up. Anything else that you watch, girl, you just want to entertain yourself. You know, I was thinking about breaking the internet with the then and now challenge. So I'm going to think that one over. Get permission from my children. Get permission from Bae. You know, like I have a lot. But I do have a fun then and now challenge that with the twist. So there's that. And then also I've been thinking about another one. I won't tell you that one. I won't tell you that. All right. Join me on my squat challenge in the EERF. Okay. So hashtag capital E, capital R, capital F, just free backwards. So join me in that group if you want to get on this squat challenge. Today we're at 45. So, 45 squats is for today. So Exercise, eat right, and focus is what that stands for. Free, backwards. Let me tell you something. I created Exercise, Eat Right, and Focus group, and it was years later before I created the hashtag. It was actually in 2020 when I created the hashtag EERF, and then looked at it and I was like, free. That's the lesson. Free yourself of all that negativity. Watch the words that you speak, because don't let what you say now become your story in whatever time frame the universe decides to throw it back at you. Watch what you put out about others, whether it's people in you, just locally near you, or people far away, or celebrities. Mind what you say, right? Because when you do it, I'm not telling you don't ever say anything bad, because we don't live in a world where you're not going to say anything bad. We're all going to make mistakes, and sometimes you just need to say something bad, right? Like, people get in your face and they try you, and you need to go back at them the way that they came for you. They sent for you, Monique with the receipts, or Monique when she had to drag Candace. Sometimes things have to happen. So you don't have to be on eggshells with your life, but you definitely don't want to speak a woman's situation and say, I would never, because you just never know. Or if you do speak it, just understand, at least be empathetic to the woman it went through. She's a human being. She's a celebrity, but she's still a human being, and that's a lot of trauma that she has seen in her life. PTSD on the highest level, really. At this point, when I think about the relationship and the pregnancies and the hell of trying to live that life, right? So I told you I'd be quiet, and it's 21 minutes, and I didn't do that. I'm out, you guys. Please continue to follow me. I am Dee Shields across social media. Have a good one.